stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking Nerf herder.
Hello and welcome once again to the Scruffy Nerf Herders podcast. I'm Josh, your humble host, and joining me, like always, is my good friend Will.
Yo.
Starting off with some real good energy there, my guy.
Oh yeah, totally awake, totally not still burned out from this weekend. Nope, not at all.
Yeah, I feel you. We're recording this 5 days after the event that we're going to be talking about, but we're all still in pain. We're still recovering pretty badly, and it's been a heck of a time, but we're going to be talking about something pretty massive that happened over the weekend that we talked about in the last couple of episodes, which was Jared's epic blaster battle. For those unaware, it is this massive Nerf event that is hosted by a person that's probably pretty familiar to some people in the hobby by the name of Jared Gwines. He's a content creator on YouTube and whatnot who does reviews, kind of like some funny videos here and there, but is a pretty neat enough guy and ended up deciding, well, I've got enough money and not enough sense, so I'm just going to start renting out stadiums and having people show up for Nerf battles. And so he started doing that and decided to come to Atlanta, which is our backyard.
Yeah, so Jared's Epic Blaster Battle is a large-scale event with thousands of attendees. It's got some similar game types to what we play in the hobby. The biggest difference is that it's all stock blasters as opposed to the modified blasters and 3D printed blasters that we use. We were there to represent our local club, the SCNC, and try to raise awareness and interest in it, and also to help repair and tech blasters that weren't functioning during the event. And I would like to throw out a special thank you to everybody who stopped by and expressed interest, bought our stickers or the shoelaces that we had for sale.
Oh, on top of that, we got to thank Drac for dropping off shoelaces.
Yeah. Thanks,
Can't
Drac,
stop,
for the
won't stop.
shoelaces. And even more importantly, thank the members of the local club who showed up, Jacob, Willie, Randall, and David, because without them, we would not have been able to do this. They were repairing blasters alongside us. They helped us set up, and they talked to various interested people who came in. So big shout out to those guys. Thank you so much.
Also, for note, both Randall and David, as well as I, are also currently the administrators for the SCNC or the Southeast Nerf Club as well. So all of us, as well as several others, are the people who are currently running that group. And I just wanted to say, on top of what Will said, seriously, guys, thank you so much. We would have drowned without you.
So, Josh, why don't you give us sort of a timeline of our involvement with this event?
So, let me break down the week or the 4 days that led up to Jared's Epic Blaster Battle that involved us and our participation. So we ended up getting a message in our local Facebook group because, well, we're not only the largest group in Georgia, we're actually one of the largest Nerf groups in the Southeast region as well. So when Jared decided to come down here, he actually hit up our group and was like, hey guys, just letting you know, we got, Jared's Epic Blaster Battle. Also, if anyone who, who's running the club wants to reach out to me, maybe we can have you guys help out for a little bit. And in exchange, you can have a booth at the event. So I spoke with the rest of the admins real quick. We all pretty much agreed. Sure, why not? Sounds fun. Some of us were planning on going anyway. So why not get a booth? And so for some reason, like everything that happens with our group, I get saddled with taking care of it. So
yes, you've got such broad shoulders, Josh. That's why.
I'm carrying all the groups.
Mother liquor.
You're a nerfer, Harry. There we go. So I contacted Jared, nice guy. We had a good conversation. This was Tuesday. Mind you, the event was Saturday. So I had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to plan, organize, and set up everything I thought we were going to need for this event. So Tuesday, I'm told, yeah, you guys are good. Let me know who's coming with you, what you're going to need for a booth, yada, yada, yada. So during the conversation I had with Jared, he explained to us, he's like, look, you guys can set up a booth, talk about the club, get people who may not know about you interested in, your local events. The caveat will be you guys will basically operate as our blaster repair technician tent as well. So one benefit is basically everyone's going to have to come see you at some point. The other problem, though, is that everyone is going to have to come see us at one point. And as we're talking, I don't want to degrade Jared at all for this, but I do want to say the way we talked and the way he made it sound, it's a couple of people, not a lot. People are going to jam their blasters. It'll be a kind of in and out sort of thing. You'll be fine. It's not that big of a deal. And I'm like, cool, fine, fantastic. So I called up my elite group of repairmen, technicians, and losers I play video games with after work.
Hey, I resemble that statement.
Yes, you do. And so I hit up Will, obviously, because if I'm going to run a podcast with this guy, I might as well drag him around with me to events. Of course, I then had to ask the other Will I know and have him join us because I just had to make it really confusing. And my good friend Jacob, who also was willing to help, on top of which we had Randall, who, like I said, is one of our admins who offered to assist. And in my head, 5 people sounds like more than enough to handle what I was told a moderate load. So I'm like, cool, we have 4 or 5 guys. We'll have enough people. So 2 people can go play a round or 2. 2 people are, repairing blasters that come in, and 1 person's like talking up the club for people who pass by, something like that. I thought that sounded great. I was wrong.
So very wrong.
So very wrong. And so as we're talking, Jared goes, great, I'll get you guys down on the list. He signs us up. He has to put in all of our information to get cleared for the stadium and whatnot. And I'm like, fantastic. So we ended up bringing a tent so we can kind of like signify where we are, a little canopy tent. We brought some blasters, business cards, some flyers, and a couple of basic tools to fix stuff. Because in my head, I'm like, cool, we're probably going to get 50, 60 jams throughout the entire event. The entire event was supposed to be about 4 to 5 hours. It goes from about 5:30, 6 o'clock to about 10 p.m. at night. And in my head, I'm like, cool, we're good. We have some tools. I'll pick up a couple of batteries in case someone forgets. We'll get a few things. And I even asked everybody, like, hey guys, let's get some loaner blasters just in case we can't fix something. These people will, have a blaster to use. In my head, I thought we were great. We were set up. I thought we over prepared. We didn't.
Yeah, about that.
We didn't. And so we get everything packed up. I think this was Thursday or Friday night. I've got my car packed and we're good to go. I'm going to be downtown in Atlanta first thing in the morning. I'll pick everybody up. We'll get down there and we'll be there bright and early. We were told to be there about 12:30. Cool, fantastic. In my head, because again, I was told not that much to do. Oh, you're going to have a few things to take care of. In my head, I'm like, cool, 12:30 is going to roll around. We're going to show up there. We're going to set our booth up and we're going to have like 4 hours to kill. So I'm like, man, maybe we can go catch like The Flash because that movie just came out or something. Like, we've got 4 hours to do in Atlanta. Let's go catch a movie. That's when everything changed.
Is that when the Fire Nation attacked?
That is when the leaf blower attacked.
When the gasoline attacked all over my hand.
Yeah, so 12:30, we were told to show up there. We meet up, talk everything over with Jared. We get our badges. Awesome, fantastic, great. We're psyched. We're pumped. He then asks us, he's like, hey guys, do you think you can give us a hand setting up the field? And, we're all sitting here. I'm like, sure, we didn't really have anything planned. Obviously, the booth isn't going to take more than 15 minutes to set up on our end. Why not? Fantastic. And I've never regretted a statement more than those exact words. Will, do you want to describe what we had to do?
So first we helped Jared unload all of his trailers, which Honestly, that part didn't take very long. It was a little hot
Yeah.
unloading all the barricades from the U-Haul trailer, but whatever, that wasn't difficult. Then we got in and we started inflating the barriers. I don't know how many barriers we inflated.
Infinite.
It felt infinite. We worked for 4 hours inflating those barriers, and part of the problem was that Jared brought 2 leaf blowers to do that. One was a gasoline-powered leaf blower, one was a battery-powered leaf blower.
Uh, for reference, I want to point out these barriers. These are not like small little like Nerf bunkers or anything like that. These are massive, 8 feet to 20 feet tall paintball barriers. These things are massive things. So this isn't something like, oh, if you got some good lungs, you can blow these up.
Yeah. So there's 2 leaf blowers that Jared brought. One's battery-powered, one's gas-powered. He had 1 battery for the battery-powered one. We could fill about 1.5 barriers with the battery-powered one, which meant that we effectively only had 1 leaf blower going, which is part of the reason it ended up taking us 4 hours. That leaf blower vibrated our hands off. Josh and I are both now missing a limb.
I don't have an arm.
And I refilled the gas tank on it twice, and somehow both times managed to get gasoline all over my hand. And additionally, I'm not certain why this happened, but for some reason, started out with 2 of Jared's guys helping move the barriers around and everything, but eventually it just became us. There was no one else helping us, which was rather
Yeah.
frustrating on my end, just because we're volunteers. We weren't told we were doing this beforehand, so why are we suddenly doing it all?
Right. Well, and I'd like to point out too, to the best of my knowledge, though, like the 2 guys who were originally helping us were essentially the only 2 guys who were going to be there to set up all of the barriers, which in my head was insane after we tried to tackle that ourselves. That was already insane. Second point, I did want to shout out Mercedes-Benz, the staff there, nicest people in the universe. They helped us out a ton, helping us like move stuff when, once we had it. I do want to bring home that point of like, I'm genuinely curious how many people like Jared had on staff that were supposed to be doing this barrier setup, because I don't think everything would have been ready in time had we not been there.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I don't see how that would have been possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we worked for 4 hours on that. And another complaint I have is because we weren't expecting to do this, we didn't really bring much in the way of water. I had 1 large water bottle with me. I don't think anybody else brought any water with them.
No, I had a quick trip tea in my car about a mile away from where the stadium was.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. So I also just something that I would like to bring up, Jared, if you're listening, probably not, but if you are, please bring water for the volunteers.
I mean, or at the very least, let us know we probably should have brought waters. Part of our conversation, we talked, and to the best of my knowledge, and I guess to my assumptions, which assumptions aren't always a good thing. I figured some stuff like a case of water wouldn't have been an insane thing to assume was going to be available, especially if we were going to be helping set up. But that's just me, I guess. So yeah, we ended up setting up the field. The Mercedes Stadium people were nice enough to actually like golf cart us around to throw them all out, and we got everything set up right about 4:30 ish. There was this lovely little VIP party that they had. They invited us to. We did that, and then the event kind of started in earnest. So everyone who was part of the VIP or got early access got down to the field, and that's when we entered the booth. And we didn't leave for the rest of the night. Or most of us didn't leave for the rest of the night. So we all were down there, and at first it worked out exactly as I expected. This is fantastic. People are kind of walking around. There's a couple other people with booths. There's a charity over on one side. There's kids chess, which was over to our left, who are pretty nice people and everything. And people are coming by, they're taking a look, they're asking who we are, and I'm giving my spiel. I'm talking about our club. I'm doing everything I can to try to zhuzh it up so people will be like, oh, cool, we could do this all the time. And it was great. We're like, yeah, if you guys have any broken blasters, fantastic. We're also doing this for a club. Come out to Marietta. We have events every month. It's free. I said that so many times. I I started just like in a script, just repeating myself just ad nauseum. And then like 6 o'clock hit in earnest, and the actual gates opened, and so people just started coming in who were waiting. And I think the final tallied total of tickets sold were 3,000 plus tickets.
Yeah,
And
that sounds about right.
I'm pretty sure all 3,000 people showed up, minus a couple of people. But like it was. I've never been in an eye of a tornado, but I genuinely believe the field of Mercedes stadiums resembled an actual tornado.
Yeah. Yeah.
And without fail, blasters started breaking immediately. I swear, like 6 o'clock hit like the chime of a clock at midnight. Just all of a sudden, just people started showing up. Hey, my blaster's broken. Hey, my blaster's broken. Hey, my blaster's broken. And just a wave of people started coming. And we had 5 guys ready. We're like, awesome, cool, do this. Blaster comes in. Oh, it's just the dart jam. Pop it out, cool. Oh man, okay, cool. This thing's locked up. Start handing over to Jacob. Will starts taking a look at stuff. Willie starts grabbing stuff, and we're just going to town, and we're doing good. And meanwhile, I'm still trying to talk up the club, and we're doing what we can.
Hmm.
And then it didn't stop. And then, like 2 hours in, we realize it's not going to stop.
Yeah. By 2 hours in, we had a line 6 deep to get their blasters.
Consistently.
Consistent.
Yeah, consistently 6 deep. Like we would finish one, and another one would take its place.
Yeah, and that's with 4 guys all working nonstop. Josh trying to manage our booth and also working on blasters.
Yeah.
We needed more ramrods. We had 2.
Look, if you let us break the stick you brought, we would have had more ramrods.
Glad I didn't. You know why? That stick was fiberglass and would have just shattered into lots of
Ooh.
sharp pieces.
That's fair. That's actually very fair. Man, at a certain point, I didn't care though. I would have taken the shards.
Everything. I mean, jammed blasters, blasters that were seized up, blasters that had burned out motors, blasters with split triggers somehow. Don't know how they managed that. I worked on one blaster that looked like it had been living in a swamp for 20 years.
Oh god.
Really spent much time on that blaster, but it was early. We weren't as busy at that point. I took the entire thing apart and discovered that somebody had pulled it apart previously and not put back in the catch spring properly. So it was just locking the entire thing up. But every screw on that was rusty, dirty, and covered in sludge.
Oof. God, I know Jacob also was trying to fix a roundhouse for like an hour.
Yeah.
I swear, like he was determined to fix that roundhouse.
Yeah.
No.
Just every permutation of broken that you can imagine. And we should have been selling batteries. We really should have been selling batteries.
So, mind you, here's the thing, and this is in my head, in my heart of hearts, I'm like, I'm gonna buy a pack of batteries, and like Amazon, like I picked up a 20 pack for $10 or something. In my heart of hearts, I'm like, you know what? We're gonna do something nice, from like the club to them. Be like, hey, we're just gonna have some batteries in case your blaster, dies out. We don't want you to be without it. That was gone in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In my mind's eye going forward, if we ever go back to Jared's Epic Blaster Battle and we're asked to do this again, I'm coming with batteries and I'm buying a house afterwards with the amount of batteries I could have sold.
We'll have 15 people and 30 ramrods.
Everyone has 2 ramrods. Got it?
That way you can just unjam 2 blasters at once.
God, yeah. And we'll get into a little bit more of it. The saddest part though, and granted, we're pretty seasoned nerfers at this point. A stock blaster battle isn't something we're like gung ho to do, but I was at least kind of looking forward to it a little bit, and I didn't get a single moment to actually go play at all. I know, Will, you got a little bit of time at the end. I know Willie went out for a little bit too. Randall went out to play, and David, who, again, David wasn't even supposed to be there to actually help us with the booth, came just to play and then ended up helping us with the boost most of the time. So
yeah,
at least most people got a chance to play, but I know like Jacob, I don't think left the booth.
Did. I wouldn't have left the booth if you hadn't come over to me and just told me to stop and go have some fun.
Yeah.
I think you could see the murder in my eyes after the 2017 Nerf Fortnite DG had come in.
It was bad. It was real bad. Hasbro, if you're listening, because why would you? Stop it with the Fortnite blasters. They all jam so easily.
I will give them this. I saw at least 30 Fortnite IRs on the field, and not a single one of them came to our booth. So whatever you did with the IR, do that with the rest of them. Stop producing the rest of the junk that you've been producing. Make more Fortnite IRs. That's a good blaster. That one doesn't jam. Also, that one, I have one, hits like 85 feet out of the box. So that's a great blaster. Keep making those. Stop with the AR. Stop with the DG. Stop with the everything else. Just stop them all. Find the designer who made the IR and only let him work on the Fortnite blasters. Or her, or they.
Yeah, right.
Make certain it's whoever built that blaster or designed that blaster signing the rest of your Fortnite blasters.
Yeah, that person deserves a pay raise.
That person deserves a pay raise. Or discontinue the line. Just one or the other. I don't care which. Just one or the other.
Yeah. And if we're calling out companies, Busby, what are you doing, Busby? Are you okay? Is Busby okay? Can someone check on them?
Is everything okay at home, Busby?
Busby, I think, consistently and without fail, broke the most next to those Fortnite blasters. Like, I don't think I saw a single working Busby blaster out there. Everything was jamming. Everything was breaking. Like, I felt bad.
Mm-hmm. The Arsenal pack is in particular was the most common Busby blaster out there. You know, it's the tiny little top prime blaster and the bolt action successor to the Busby Predator. The Adventure Force Arsenal pack, do not buy it for your kids. They were terrible. They were breaking constantly.
They clearly don't know how to use them.
Yeah, it's, even if they do know how to use them, there's something inherently wrong with those blasters.
100%. Yeah, no, but yeah, Busby definitely was like MVP on breaking. I'm gonna be honest though, and this was at least just me personally. The X-Shot Crusher, that like hand crank minigun, was a like close second or third in just consistent jamming because it would only take X-Shot darts apparently, and was just jam. It would just jam on everything else because X-Shot darts are just like a couple millimeters smaller. So they seat better and can rotate. Normal like Nerf darts and everything with the longer heads were jamming up. And I don't know how somebody did this. They jammed like 9 darts in that barrel.
I saw that consistently with every Fortnite blaster I worked on. The other really bad one was part of that Arsenal pack, the bolt action. I would routinely see 5, 6, 7, 8 darts jammed into that barrel. Yeah, it's just, I didn't see the Crusher, thankfully. I saw it once, and it was this one guy who kept bringing it in. I mean, he was there 20 times, I think, over the night.
For real. Yeah. There's like 2 people, 3 people that showed up, and I swear they should have bought us dinner with the amount of time they were taking up from us.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane. I genuinely did not understand the scope in which our assistance was needed. And to that effect, I'm genuinely happy we were there to help. Like, we're sitting here, complaining, we're bitching, we're like upset. But at the same time, all of these people would not have actually had blasters to use had we not been there to do the grunt work that we did.
Absolutely.
And Jared actually even told us the Indiana event that took place the weekend before the Atlanta one, he didn't have anyone to do blaster repairs. So I can only imagine with an event of this size, nearly 3,000 people, if every person who came to our booth would have had to come to there would have been a solid 15-20% of the people just sitting there not able to play.
Yeah absolutely.
It was bad. So I'm grateful we had the opportunity to help and to be there. But Jared, if you're listening, and I hope to whatever deity is out there listening that you are, please don't undersell the level in which your assistance or the level of assistance you need is, because I would have had double the people in a heartbeat to come help. Like, Like we got into the event for free, so all of this bitching is clearly underlined with getting to come play for free, getting the exposure and everything. So everything we're saying is with a grain of salt. But man, if I had known, we would have had double the people.
And on that note, again, thank you, Jared, for giving the opportunity to represent the club, because we got 200, 300 new members on the Facebook group just from that event.
I didn't check the official numbers, but I know in the first like 24 hours, we had like 40 to 50 people join our group, and that was fantastic because most of the people were local, which was awesome. I'm so happy, and I'll talk about why I'm a little extra happy in a little bit, maybe once we wrap this up. But just getting that exposure is so cool, so neat, and people finding our hobby is fantastic. I mean, even if I wasn't helping to run the SENC or had my own events to try to host, I would have been more than happy to be down there to assist, because our hobby is so fun and so vast, I guess, in like the appeal, that it very easily can jump generations, and I don't see that very often with a lot of other hobbies.
Yeah, exactly. So once again, Jared, as much as we're kvetching, thank you for giving us the opportunity to rep the club, and thank you for hosting these events, because it does help grow the hobby. It gets more people interested in what we do, and the more people we have, the more fun we can have with events. So thank you on that.
Agreed. Yes. Thank you. Thank you again.
Maybe we should go into some tips and tricks to for attendees for future events.
Yeah, let's pull out the listicles here. Here are the do's and don'ts of the Jared's Epic Blaster Battle attendance and good use.
One, research the blasters that you're buying for this event, even if that just means reading the box before you purchase.
Sounds pretty apparent,
Yeah.
but a lot of people
The
didn't do that.
number of people we came up to us, and they're like, my blaster's not working. And we looked over at them, we're like, well, did you put batteries in it? And they looked at us and said, it needs batteries?
Yeah. That was a non-zero number of people who made that comment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you didn't read the box. And giving them just a little bit of credit, fine. Your kid wanted to come do this thing. You ran to Walmart, pick something up. Cool. At least double check if it needs
Yeah.
batteries.
This is Christmas morning basic stuff, guys.
Yeah. And to that effect, to double on top of that, if your blaster uses batteries, bring an extra set, because guess what? We weren't planning on having any, and no one else in the event had batteries. There was, I think, 3 or 4 people that I'm giving them like kudos points to, because they came over to our booth and they're like, "Hey, we have batteries. Can I just borrow a screwdriver?" And I'm like, you know what? That's fair, fine, because obviously they wouldn't let you bring in like a sharp like screwdriver into the event. But yeah, they came prepared. They knew the assignment.
Yeah, shout out to those guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It helped us out.
Rule number 2, and this is, I feel like, even more obvious than our first rule: bring darts. The first like 40 minutes, no one had darts to use. Like, I mean, I think Jared was supposed to produce some, and I think over time they eventually got disseminated out and got used. But people just kept on asking, like, "Do you have darts? Do you have batteries? Do you have darts? Do you have batteries?" Like, just you're here to shoot people with darts. Bring a couple extra. It's gonna be useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring your own ammo. You will need it.
Yeah.
And bring extra. Don't just bring a few. It's not hard to buy a box of 150, 200 darts at Walmart or Target. It's $10 to $15.
Yeah, Adventure Force waffle heads pack of 200 is $10. So
yeah, absolutely,
not a pricey buy.
And if you're buying darts, don't buy them offline, because the number of FVJs and bowberries.
Yeah, the bowberries. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found one set of FVJs. I did find a lot of bowberries though.
I was tearing the heads off of FVJs because I kept finding them. Found a couple with my head. Yeah. On that note, third, it doesn't say on Jared's website or on the banners when you get there that eye protection is required. It says that it is suggested. Now, Josh got an email when he bought his ticket saying that eye protection was required for anybody under 18. Eye protection is required, guys. I don't care if you are over 18 and you want to take that risk. Eye protection is required. That's one of the biggest things that we preach in this hobby. Wear your eye protection, even with stock blasters, because 70 feet per second going into your eyeball still hurts.
Yeah, you're not gonna lose an eye, but you can damage some corneas or definitely, be down for a while,
Yeah, a scratched cornea still hurts and still is going to mess you up for a while.
for sure.
Bring eye protection. That is our number 3 suggestion. Bring eye protection. Wear eye protection. Love eye protection.
I mean, to be honest, that really should be our first, but yeah, like in levels of like severity, because I think a lot of people understood and or double checked that email to bring eye protection. Because yeah, we're shooting foam, but stuff still hurts.
Hmm. Yeah. And the
Um,
number of people also we had coming over to us after Jared announced that you should be wearing eye protection, asking if they could buy eye protection from us.
yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
That's a big thing, guys. Wear your eye protection, bring your eye protection, love your eye protection.
I would be a rich man if I had prepped half of the stuff I thought I should have brought.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh man, this one's this one I don't even know if is a tenable rule because, like I said, we got to come in through like the back entrance and everything, so we didn't go through normal checkpoints. But plan on bringing water if you can.
Hmm.
I mean, I this might be untenable because some stadiums like don't allow outside food and drinks. But man, people were dying of thirst. It's
Hmm.
it's 4 hours of running around, chasing your kids, playing around. You're gonna get dehydrated. Like it's gonna happen.
Hmm. Yeah. So if you're able to bring it into the stadium, check your stadium's rules beforehand. Bring water. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just like one of our big rules for the HVZ episode was bring water, bring
Yeah.
hydration. You're gonna need it.
Yeah. A lot of the rules and issues kind of overlap. It's pretty obvious. It's not a hard hobby to get into.
Yeah.
Keep your eye pro on. Don't be a dick. Stay hydrated. It's like the 3 rules of nerfing.
Yeah.
Just put that on a shirt.
And fourth, and this one is it's not just like a tip or a trick. It's something that I kept on having people come up to me because I was wearing a staff badge and a shirt. Don't steal people's stuff.
Yeah.
The number of people I had who came up to me and they're like, somebody stole my kid's blaster. What can I do about it? I had to say, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm a volunteer. Go check in with Lost and Found to see if maybe it just was accidentally picked up
Yeah.
and turned in over there. But don't take people's stuff. We had display blasters just to show what the
Oh.
hobby does. And people kept on trying to pick them up, take them away to use them. We wouldn't have got them back.
Mm-mm.
And I mean,
Oh no.
you know,
Let me rephrase that. We would have got him back. There just would have been a pool of blood trailing back to us.
yes.
Yeah, because we didn't just have some nice display blasters. Like I foolishly brought really nice stuff to show off. Like one of a kind
Yeah.
things you can't get anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I only brought things that were modified off the shelf stuff, but I put 30 hours into painting those blasters and modifying them, and
Mhm.
somebody would have walked off with those, and they hit way harder than the stock stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I could only imagine if a kid had taken, for example, my dictator, and we had rendered it safe, thankfully.
Yeah.
But if they had taken it and tried to use it, and we hadn't done what we'd done to it, some kid could have lost an eye. That so don't take people's stuff. You don't know what it is. It's theirs. So once again, be a dick.
Yeah.
And also, you could really hurt somebody, not just physically, but emotionally, financially, whatever. Don't take people's stuff. If it isn't yours, don't touch it.
Yeah. Got a lot of grabby hand McGee's.
I mean, to the point where I think the third hour we just completely took our blasters off the table and stopped trying to do a display of them because it was just the number of people grabbing stuff, could have broken stuff, could have hurt somebody, could have hurt themselves. I mean, I saw one kid pick up your Talon Claw and try to stab himself in the eye with it.
Oh God, I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and also to that effect, because we're talking about kids trying to grab our blasters, we brought loaner blasters. I asked all the guys if they had anything that they'd be willing to loan out for people, but wouldn't necessarily plan on getting back because let's be honest, 3,000 people, odds are we're not going to get the stuff back. So we had a bucket of loaner blasters. We probably had what, 15 blasters, maybe 10, 15,
I'd
somewhere there.
say, yeah, I'd say 12 blasters, and then one of Jared's guys brought over another 5 blasters and put them in our bucket
Yeah.
of loaners.
Yeah, so yeah, we had about 15 to 17 blasters roughly, and we got one back. We got a Flip Fury back.
Yeah, the one that I wanted back the least is the one we got back.
Yeah, if Ray, if you're listening to this, my guy, I had a birthday gift that was that wild charge that I brought. It was just a stock Nerf wild charge. I put that in there because I'm like, I didn't have any plans for it, and if I get it back, awesome. I didn't get it back.
So also, I mean, admittedly, I will say we did leave early. Maybe people were planning on bringing stuff back, and
Yeah,
well, I say we left early. We left on time.
we packed up early. We actually only ended up leaving about 15 minutes early by the time we left.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the one of the downsides, one of our members did have a bit of a physical issue that they were having, and we had to kind of pack up early and take them home. So we did leave around about 9:30. The entire time, though, we had people handing us blasters to try and fix. As my hands are full of stuff, and kids are still running up to me like asking me to unjam things.
Yeah. I had the tent over my shoulder and somebody asked me to unjam their blaster, and I just sort of looked at them. I was like, "I'm sorry. I I can't do that right now. There's still a couple people over there who aren't carrying things. Maybe go ask them real quick before we go."
Yeah. Like, I just the cognitive dissonance right there of just like, how do you not realize maybe these guys are off the clock now?
Mhm. Yeah.
But again, like I said, I still had fun. I still think this was an experience. I wish it was handled a little smoother, I guess I'll say. But
Yeah.
overall, I still think it was a net positive. I think our group as a whole is going to be a little bigger because of it. And in about 2-3 weeks, we'll hopefully see the fruits of that labor with some new members showing up. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd be willing to do it again if we had more time, better planning, more people, and more clear communication
And
about what we're doing
1,000 batteries, so I
each.
can buy a house when we're done.
And a second thousand so I can pay off my mortgage.
Exactly. Yeah. So with that, we're gonna wrap up our complaining gab fest of Jared's epic blaster battle, and let's get into some news slash update stuff before we get into our blaster talk, so to speak. And the big news is from the point of this recording slash when this should be out, End War is in like 4 or 5 days right now, my guys. And we're gonna be there. We have a huge group of people coming, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be crazy. We did get a few updates on some rules, kind of last minute, but that is the nature of running these events. So, for reference, if anyone is actually listening to this and has the time, 2 big things were made apparent. The first is no tactical vests are allowed on campus, unfortunately. So, if you're planning on running around like a plate carrier or like a chest rig or something like that, if it in any way, shape, or form looks like tactical militaristic in any shape or form, it's not going to be allowed. Just letting you guys know ahead of time. Don't plan on bringing your milsim tac vests and all of that.
And just a note on that, this is not a rule by the club. This is a rule by campus police.
Correct.
So don't go and get angry at the club. Don't get angry at the moderators or volunteers, event organizers. This is a rule that they were given to by campus police. There's nothing they can do about it. Be kind. They're volunteers, they're players, they're part of our hobby. Don't give them guff about this.
Yeah, for sure. And that's I think the biggest one right there. And hopefully people can adjust. I know a lot of our friends definitely kind of fall into the camp of wearing like tack vests and chest rigs. Switch to battle belts. Get some deep pockets. Get a backpack. Technically speaking, you can just wear a backpack the other way. You'll look a little silly, but hey, you got a massive dump pouch you can organize in there. That's not a tack vest or anything. So that
Yeah.
normalize the reverse backpack at End War.
Yeah. Also, an update on, or another rule that was given out: no face coverings will be allowed other than, your standard COVID,
PPE.
PPE type mask. I know I was planning on wearing a full get up that was, Greek hoplite Hoplite theme. I'd spent about 10 hours working on the files for that and was printing off the helmet today and found out that rule. So I'm a little bit bummed, but once again, as a campus rule, we got to follow it. So don't bring a mask, don't bring a helmet, anything militaristic. Maybe I could have gotten away with a giant Greek helmet because it would have been just silly enough, but I'm not risking it and I'm not putting anybody in the position of saying, no, I'm sorry, you can't wear that.
Yeah.
Just let's make it easy on them, guys. These are the rules we got to follow to have fun on a college campus. And that's fair.
For sure.
That's legitimate. I mean, in the current culture, that's something that we have to be aware of and follow.
Yeah, it is the unfortunate nature of our hobby and the fact that we do interact closely with the public, unlike paintball and airsoft that has to regulate themselves to like private property spots and locations like that. Nerfers kind of play out in public. We're in parks, we're on college campuses, we're out in the open. So we do have a couple of different rules, unfortunately. But we'll adapt, we'll work around it. It's not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Still gonna have a massive fun time, and I'm looking forward to it. And on top of which, the next bit of information, not necessarily rule, that came up is we finally got some information about the Foam Pro Tour, which I'm excited for. So a lot of what we talked about previously, roughly was accurate. The Foam Pro Tour is going to be the competitive tournament that's going to be at the end of the event. And the only real shakeup from before, you can take a look at their website. We will have that linked below. The only real change up is there is no pre-registration. So if you're planning on forming a team and coming out, you do have to be there day of to register. There is no setup ahead of time. The flip side of that is there's no cost. There's no registration fee. So like in the past where people had to pay like a fee for their teams or whatever, it's free, but I imagine it's first come, first serve for those slots. So
yeah. So get there early, or don't, so that we can sign up all 4 of our teams.
Yeah. So granted, I don't think we've actually talked about this, and I'm not going to go into too much detail now, but we run one of the larger competitive Nerf leagues as well, and we have 4 full teams coming up. So I'm planning on one of our teams taking Drax money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Come out, be shot by us, lose to us, have fun while doing so. We'll see you there.
Or better yet, beat us. Take Drax money for yourself. We're not going to go down easy.
We're waiting. In other event news, the next JEBB Epic Blaster Battle, if hearing about it from us hasn't turned you off too much, I hope it hasn't. I hope that it actually made you interested in it. That's going to be happening on August 11th. In Arlington, Texas. Once again, 6 p.m. is when the gates open. It's going to be taking place at AT&T Stadium there. Arlington is just west of Dallas, so Dallas people, it's right by you. And the Dart Zone Blaster Bash that we mentioned last time was postponed due to inclement weather. The new date for that is also August 11th. Out in Colorado, the location, the field, all that is the same. So, Colorado people, you've got an option for a blaster event that weekend as well.
Man, that's wild that they did just decide to shift to the one weekend that they're, that JEBB's running that one too. You're like, well, damn. And I guess at that point, even though we've been talking about newsworthy things, I think it's now officially time for the news. Still not sure how we should introduce this, but I'm just gonna.
The first bit of news we have is there's a new blaster coming out that my cowboy loving heart is super stoked for. Dart Zone has announced in their podcast, Blaster Chat, I think it's called, the Dart Zone Outlaw. It is a pro grade hammer action, 120 FPS, half-length dedicated, 6-round drop cylinder blaster. So it'll get to live out my cowboy fantasies even harder. It's the pro grade hammer shot, guys. There will be a lower FPS spring available for purchase if you want. I think they said it's probably about 90 to 100 FPS with the lower spring. So, if you have a younger child who can't necessarily prime back easily the 120 FPS hammer on that, there will be an option that you can purchase and easily modify it to lower that.
I would like to point out that we actually got to see this at JEBB's Epic Blaster Battle, and to a testament of how tired and exhausted we were, we got our hands on it and then just immediately didn't mess with it and handed it right back.
Yeah, I think we fired 1 round each.
Yeah.
It's supposed to retail for $30 and it will be a Target exclusive. Look for that. I think they said early August. So super
Mhm.
stoked. Did kind of consider running away with it when I got to touch it, but it was the lower FPS spring and I didn't want to have to go find a higher FPS spring. So I was nice. And we were
And we
exhausted
were
and
exhausted.
couldn't run or really wrestle the blaster away from track. So
Oh, no, we had it in our hands. I could run defense. That boy is a twig. He would not be able to get past me.
fair enough. I couldn't have moved at a fast enough space that he wouldn't have been fast enough pace that he wouldn't have eventually been able to find me and catch me with it.
That's accurate. That is a far more reasonable point. And in further Dark Zone news, because when it rains, it pours. We actually have another blaster coming out from them, and that's going to be the Thunderbolt. This is the evolution of the Adventure Force Spectrum, which is kind of like the Adventure Force / Dart Zone's version of a Strife. It's super cool, super neat, pretty much just as easily modifiable as the Strife is / was, and it's basically a beefier version of the Spectrum. So it actually kind of looks like what some of like the Spectrum mods were, with like the longer front ends and stuff. I will say it's a testament to Dart Zone. They're listening to us. Like, I genuinely, the things that they're doing, they might not be the absolute coolest, but I will give them points for days that they are 100% listening to us. So, not only is it going to be a bigger blaster, not only is it a better ergonomics, it's going to have much easier modability to it. They even made it so it's got a end strike buffer tube on it. Like, it has an end strike attachment point. So all of our current Nerf stock points work with it. I'm not sure how. I think maybe the patent on the end strike attachment finally came up or something, but Dart Zone's like, hey, look, we have this on our blaster too. Boop. And they have a basic buffer tube system for it as well. So if you're using a buffer tube stock, bada bing, fantastic. Boom, here you go. And it looks really cool. It looks really neat. And kind of going with the Outlaw, the thing's only $25. That is bonkers cheap. $25. Like, I don't even think the original Strife was at that for when it first came out. I think it's still retailed at like 30 plus.
I think it was 20, then it's just crept up to the point where now a Strife, even if you buy it from a third party source, is $40.
Yeah, that sounds right. And because it's a Dart Zone, it will be Target exclusive. So keep your eyes out for that. But I'm kind of excited for it. It looks really interesting. We don't get enough good flywheelers in the hobby anymore.
Yes. Yes. From there, we mentioned last time that the X Shot Pro Long Shot was coming out. It's come out already. We were not expecting it to come out this soon, but it is available.
Surprise, it's out.
It's available now. I actually went out and searched through Targets before I found out the cheat code at the time was to go in and ask using the DCPI number. Once I found that out, I was able to pick it up at the first Target. I had already visited 5 Targets at that point. But I think it's officially now out on the shelves. People have started seeing it on shelves all over the country. We've had a chance to play with them now. Mine works like a dream. I know Josh has had some jamming issues.
Mine's busted.
There have been some reports of cracked plunger tubes. I personally haven't had a problem with that. I don't think any of us did. People are
Mine
already,
just won't fire because it jams.
yeah. People have already started experimenting with metal plunger tubes. The outer diameter of the plunger tube is 42 millimeters. The inner is 40 millimeters. So if you're looking for one, those are the measurements that you're looking for. I personally just purchased some carbon fiber tubing. We'll see if it works. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But people are already starting trying to source new plunger tubes for it just because of that cracking issue.
Mm.
And also, it's really easy to mod, guys. You take out 3 screws. You can remove the entire front end, replace the barrel, and replace the spring in it. You don't have to take it all the way apart. Walcom actually came up to me at the event when he saw me playing with it and was like, hey, don't do what my dumb self did. Just take out these 3 screws, and he pointed them out to me. It makes it really easy to mod, but it's hitting 250 FPS with a 40 millimeter Kyriaka barrel and a similar length to the original spring of K25. And that's just nuts performance from that easy of a mod. That's insane.
Well, and I'd like to point out too, the blaster's essentially only been out in people's hands for like a week and some change. The race to 300 has already started and ended. People are already breaching 300 FPS on a $30 flimsy as all get out blaster that just has no right being this good.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's exciting. I mean, provided all of my parts come in time, I may be running that at FPT. We'll see. If not, I've got my red
Right.
herring. I didn't say that. You don't know what I'm using. Don't don't itemize against me in FPT. But yeah, it's exciting.
No, it's super cool. It's super great. We actually had them at Jared's Epic Blaster Battle because, fun fact, they're stock blasters. They were bought at a Target, so they 100% are viable options.
Mhm.
So we were able to kind of get away with doing that.
Great little blaster. Love it. I was easily hitting people across the field with it. I mean, I had to put it at an angle, but I'm used to doing that. So love the thing. Love bullpups. Can't wait to pull it apart and start working on it.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for this episode. I think we've sufficiently complained about everything we wanted to talk about and did everything we could to explain what's going to be going on. Next episode, we'll probably end up having a good like local community talk and talk about like some stuff we do here. Only because the next episode, which will be out in 2 weeks, is going to be about End War, everything that happened there, everything that went down. And I really, really hope we're not going to be complaining about End War like we did about Jared's. We're really hopeful, and we hope to see you guys out there. If you're listening, we'll probably have some badges on that say Scruffy Nerf Herders. So if you see us, shout us out, and maybe if you're lucky, I'll give you my badge. All right, and I guess on that note, we'll try to end this episode.
We're the Scruffy Nerf Herders. Gotta love us.
Yeah, that works. Okay.
Bye, guys.